want to thank you guys for taking time out of your holiday weekend to come to the webinar tonight. I had thought about maybe not doing one tonight, but then I got thinking, well, there's a lot of people that aren't in the U.S. that don't celebrate Memorial Day that may want to come to it anyway. And I'm not expecting a very high turnout tonight since most people are enjoying the holiday and a lot of people are starting their summer months. Typically here in the U.S., Memorial Day kicks off the first of summer and a lot of people are on vacation. So, like I said, I'm not expecting a big turnout here tonight, but there's several in here, more than what I was really expecting, so we're doing really well. Tonight's kind of a special night. Again, these calls, if you hadn't been to one, I think most everybody in here has been to one of these calls before, but these calls are for you guys. There's usually some sort of a training, and then I go over questions I've gotten emails, and then take your guys' questions at the end of that. But tonight's class is a little different in that instead of me giving a presentation tonight, I actually have a video that Jason Fladlin sent me in a response to a question I sent him. I'm in one of his mentoring classes, and one of the questions I get quite a bit is about people that buy one of my products and they reply back to me. They're going to give it a few days to try it and see how well it works out, and they'll report back to me. And that's great that people reply back to me and tell me that, if they're really going to give the product a try. But it kind of bothers me too that, they say for a few days. And it's been my general experience that there's not a whole lot that you can do in just a few days that you're going to see any real results. I mean, you may see results in just a few days, but generally anything that's going to really pan out and work good for you, you got to give it more than a few days effort to really see good positive results from it. So I posed that question to Jason. I said, what would be the best response that I could give people that email me with that type of a response? And Jason sent me a link to a video that he had made that is not exactly on the same subject, but it kind of answers that question, and I wanted to share that with you guys tonight. So I'm going to, if all goes well, I haven't done one of these in a while, played a video for you guys, but we're going to try that tonight. We're going to try to play the video that Jason sent me, and it's a really good lesson for you guys. So after that, like I said, this is a special night. I've got an announcement I want to make to you guys, and you guys that are here on this call and the ones that will be watching the replay will be the ones that get to find out about it first. So after the presentation, I'll take a few questions. If you have any questions about Jason's presentation, then I'll go over the announcement, and then we'll do our questions. So with that said, let's try to do the video now and see if we can get that working without any problems.
Hello, Jason Fladlin here, and today I want to discuss with you realistic expectations when purchasing an ebook or ebooks. A lot of people, when they purchase ebooks, they do not go into it with the right mind state, which allows them not to take action on the ebook, not to get the results that they desire, and it really does not control their impulses for purchasing ebooks. So, why should you have realistic expectations? Let's start right there. Well, when you have the proper mindset, when you're purchasing an ebook and actually purchasing it and getting ready to devour the content, it's going to allow you to get more out of them. And I'll show you actually systems for getting more out of them here in this seminar. And it also allows you to make better purchasing decisions. It's going to, when you have the realistic expectations going in, knowing which ones to buy and which ones to pass on for now, which ones are needed for your business and which ones are not. And finally, it's going to help you fill in the missing links. If you've been wondering why you've been purchasing ebooks and not getting the results or not really making the connections, after watching the seminar, you'll be able to make those connections that you weren't making before, so that you're going to, any information you're going to get is going to be far more valuable to you. So with that said, the first thing I want to stress is that ebooks are great. They're absolutely great, but I don't think they're great for the reasons that most people think they're great for. Most people think ebooks are their solution, the instant solution to their desperate problem, and that's just not true. And let me put it to you this way. How many millionaires do you know became a millionaire because they bought one ebook, read it once, and then all of a sudden they made a bunch of profits? It just doesn't happen that way. And it's not to say that they can't. It's just that the average human psychology is the fact that people get bored and they want new stuff all the time. They want new things. It's just how we're programmed. It's part of our brain. It's Broca's brain. If you actually want to study it, go look up Broca's brain and get into the psychological aspects of it. Not important that you do that, but the fact is that we need several sources from several different people that we can combine together, and then over time we can pick up one small trait here, one small trait there, one small trait here, one habit here, one habit there, one habit there, one technique here, one technique there, one technique here, and then when you put them all together, you're going to have enough of a base to draw money from and get some good results with your business. But ebooks are great. They're great for several reasons. One of the reasons is they give you a new perspective, something you had not previously considered. So if you get nothing out of an ebook other than that new perspective, it's not going to instantly make you more money necessarily, but it's going to give you another tool. So when you combine it together with the other tools you assimilate on your education to becoming a better marketer, you're going to have more power. And ebooks are also great because they're going to give you some of those strategies you're not going to get anywhere else. And if anything, they're going to put you more in a state of resourcefulness if you choose to act on the information in the ebooks. So I'm not saying ebooks are great. I'm just saying that they're typically not the magic solution to your problems. And I'll get more into that right now, actually, because it's not a problem with information. It's a problem with the medium. I don't care how good of a writer you are. I don't care how great your system is. I don't care how you put everything into an ebook. The medium of an ebook is very limited for communication. And I like to tell my coaching clients this when I tell them to get into coaching themselves, or I'm selling my coaching program. I say, look it. Just think if you went to school as a kid and you had no teachers. Just on the first day the principal walked in and said, here's your textbook, study this, your exam's going to be in 6 weeks. Question, how good do you think you're going to do on that test? And the answer is obviously not very good, because that is a static, what I call a static presentation of information. So there's static content and there's dynamic content. Static content is an ebook. Static means it does not change. So I write an ebook, and unless I update that ebook, all that information stays the same, regardless of how you read it, what questions you ask yourself when you're reading it, or anything. That's just static information. And I don't care how good that information is, it's still static. Not to get into a religious debate here, but the Bible is the most popular book in the world, but it's static information, even though they try to change it with the Old Testament and the New Testament. And so they had things back then where they didn't have information to. And so, dinosaurs, they did not know about dinosaurs back then. So there's really no explicit talk about dinosaurs back then. So a lot of people are like, I don't believe in dinosaurs, even though pretty much all scientific evidence tends to point that they exist. And like I said, not a religious debate. I don't know. There may be an explanation, there may be not. And I'm not saying whether it's true or not. I'm just saying static information means it does not change with the times. And it does not change related to your personal situation. And so there's a lot of information that's put down that's classic information that seems to be invalidated these days or harder to comprehend based on what we know now. And so static is different than dynamic, where dynamic content changes over time. So like the best, without a doubt, the best kind of information is mentoring, coaching. And so all the great athletes have it. Michael Jordan had a coach. Tiger Woods has several coaches. All the great people have coaches. Even the president has a cabinet of people that he goes to give him dynamic content. He does not study out of a manual. Although he does, hopefully they do read. See, like I said, ebooks have their place, and they're great. They're very inexpensive ways to get good information, but they're not the end-all, be-all resource, and that's typically why people who just purchase ebooks don't become rich with the information in those ebooks. You need dynamic content as well as static content. That's why I love ebooks. They give me the static content, and then I take that, and then from that I make decisions on where to get my dynamic information from related to that. A lot of times I just go right back to the author, and I try to pay them for coaching. I sell coaching, but the thing is I don't just sell it. I buy coaching. I've spent several $1,000s on coaching, and even more I'm going to, because I believe in the power of dynamic content. I'm able to take the stuff that I've read in a book, in an ebook, and say, okay, how can I fit this to my personal situation? And I get the dynamic feedback from somebody with the interactivity in the interactive process. So that's why we get on webinars. That's why I teach webinars. That's why I do personal coaching through email and on the phone, and that's why I'm trying to create these communities. And like I said, and I was alluding to before, but I'll get into it more right now, time discounts information. So even though that ebook worked yesterday, it doesn't necessarily work today. And a lot of times I find information is heavily discounted by time. For example, 6 months ago the craze was all the big internet marketers found on their own, kind of, or maybe just in a small tight circle, they found, well, if we take people offline with a newsletter, we can make a ton of money. Yeah. And then they started sharing that so-called secret with everybody in the internet marketing, and now all the consumers are like, oh, here we go, forced continuity. He's going to upsell me into a stupid newsletter, and most of these newsletters suck. And so even though it's a technique that worked great at one point in time, and you could read about it in an ebook, it doesn't work that good anymore. Time discounts information. So situations change, and what works changes, and the marketplace, the mindset of the marketplace changes. And so an ebook is static. It does not change with the marketplace. And so sometimes the information that you get in an ebook always will be discounted in one form or another. It might be small discount, but it will be discounted because times will change, and so that information will become outdated. Whereas dynamic information is always up to the point. With coaching and all this other stuff, you're going to get it right up to the point. And so I try to create personally ebooks that have long-term values. So I show people how to write better articles. Guess what? Knowing how to write better articles is going to work no matter what happens. So that's the type of information that's going to be very, very tinily discounted because it's an overall skill. Writing reports is an overall skill. You can always fit it to something. Writing copy is pretty much an overall skill. So the time is very smallly diminish that. But stuff like how to trick Google and get on the first page with this new tactic is going to die as soon as Google finds out that there's some internet marketer spreading that to 10,000 people in an ebook, and they changed our algorithm. So time discounts information. That's a problem with ebooks, and situations affect results. Okay, what if I show you a great thing that works in 60% of niches, but 40% of the niches it doesn't work that good? How do you know which niche is for you and which niche isn't for you? That's just one example. There's all kinds of situational aspects that are going to affect the information in that ebook, and there's just no way, no matter how good of an ebook writer are, you're going to encompass all of those personal situations to all these different people. And handle those. And so that's some of the reasons why you try something in an ebook doesn't work. Maybe you didn't apply it properly and you needed coaching that would help you, or maybe you didn't apply it, you applied it perfectly, but it just didn't work in the situation you applied it in. For example, Napoleon Hill is, the Think and Grow Rich guru. But he had this great system for making money. But for a long period in his life, after he wrote that book, Napoleon Hill was broke, because he did not take that system and apply it in a situation that was likely to have the results. It's like you want to get rich, but what happens if you want to get rich selling, how to have better sex, and you try to sell it to a convent full of nuns? You're not applying it to the proper place where it's going to get the results that you desire. And so sometimes that happens with some of your information. It works really great in a lot of areas, but it doesn't work great in a couple areas. And those are the areas that some of the people are going to apply it to, and they're not going to get results. I'm not making this into a pitch for coaching. I'm just showing you to have realistic expectations from an ebook. So don't expect it to be all-encompassing, to affect every single situation out there, because it just can't. No ebook can do that. And don't expect it to be the most perfect information that's going to be working till the end of time, because eventually that information is not going to work as effectively or at all after a while. And like I said, finally, it's static, so it's not going to be able to incorporate some of your personal aspects into it. And like I said, that doesn't mean that ebooks aren't great, because they absolutely are. It just means that they are not the final solution. They are just a part of the puzzle from all the stuff that you need to become very successful online. So that's really good. When you purchase an ebook, you're not thinking, oh, this is going to be the final solution to my problems. But it's going to be, like I call the one big idea philosophy. If I purchase an ebook, it's only like, $27 to $97 typically. If I purchase an ebook, and my goal here is to find one thing that I can use to make me better, even if it's just a small percent better. I don't care, because I know if I keep doing that over and over and over again every week, I'm going to get pretty freaking good pretty quick. So I'm looking for that one big philosophy, that one thing, or that one big idea. I call it the one big philosophy, that one big idea. So this is what I do. I read through it. I'm reading through the book. And, usually about 3 out of every 5 ebooks I purchase, I do get one big idea. So I'm reading through it. Something grabs me. I say, ooh, that sounds good. I don't know if it'll work or not based on my situation. I don't know if it works anymore. It looks like it works, but man, it sounds good. I would love to try it out and see what happens. So what do? Well, here's my system for instant action. Since I have the one big idea philosophy, as soon as I encounter that, I say, this is it. I am excited about this. This is that one big idea that seems like it's going to work really good for me. Let me try it out and see what happens. So what do? I don't read any rest of the ebook. I just read that one section over and over again that encompasses all that big idea, so I have everything I need to know to put that into action. And I read it like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 times until I feel confident enough to go out and try it and see what happens. And then I immediately make up a plan. Okay, this is how I'm going to try it. This is how I'm going to follow up on it. And this is how I'm going to check my results. And this is how I'm going to see if I'm going to keep it, improve upon it, or discount it, not use it again. And typically, if it works really good, then I'll go back and read the rest of the ebook and say, okay, what's the next step after you use this? The other thing I like to do is take ebooks that I get ideas from that are not completely at all applicable to what they were talking about, but it sparks an idea for something else that is just kind of complementary to it. A happy accident, if you will. Well, you might be reading something about an email marketing book, and it says something about this is how you get them to click on your links. And that spawns off an idea in your mind like, well, maybe it's not about email marketing, but I could use something similar to that. That just gave me a great idea that's kind of like that for blog posts to get comments. And they're like, okay, cool, I'm just going to use that for the blog post. And then you come up with a system for how you're going to implement that, test that, track it, and then determine whether you're going to use it, improve upon it, or discard it, not use it anymore. So that's my whole approach, and that allows me to take instant action anytime I purchase an ebook. It's really cool. It's an easy system. Another way I do it sometimes is if it's like you need all the parts of the ebook first before you can make the decision, read through the whole thing once, and then go back and try to find those big ideas, and find the one really big idea, then use it. So that way you get the overall picture, but then you can instantly act on that first thing you need to act on that gets you the most excited, and that seems like it's going to work the best if you put it to use. Then you put it to use, and now you've done it. You're like, okay, cool, I got that piece of the puzzle. So now you can make smart decisions on where to go next. Now, with that said, that is not the typical ebook mentality. That's why most people don't get good results or any results with ebooks. And this is instead the mentality that they have. The ebook mentality that keeps most marketers poor is what I call it. Classroom conditioning is the first aspect of this. Okay, this is how people have been conditioned to consume ebooks. Since they were a young boy or a girl in class, this is how it worked. Teacher would pull out an assignment. Okay, teacher would go over information. You would use the information in the sense that you would do a test on it, and then they would move on to the next thing. You would consume that, repeat, condition yourself. Because now you condition yourself not to take it out into the real world, because you really can't in a classroom setting. So you have been conditioned your whole life to take information, study it, quiz yourself on it, and then move on to the next thing. Like when they taught you in business class on how to, set up a sole proprietorship, you didn't physically go out to the bank and set one up. You just studied it and then did a quiz so that if you wanted to, at some point in time later, you could. Well, the problem with that is through 18 freaking years, you've now conditioned yourself to take in information in that modality to where you read it, study it, quiz yourself on it, and then move on. And so that's the mentality people have. They don't break themselves of that conditioning, which is why they don't act on any ebooks. And even things that give them the full result because they've been conditioned. Entertainment conditioning is another thing. I want you to think how a lot of people process information around them. They typically process it if they're reading books. They buy novels. So they read information. That's information. It's an information good. A novel is. It's an entertainment information good, I call it. So they've been conditioned their whole life to read books and magazines and newspapers for entertainment, strictly entertainment purposes. And so when they buy an ebook, they kind of condition themselves. So they get a good feeling. Don't get me wrong. There's value in reading an ebook and just reading it. Why? Because you get that feeling like you're part of something. Yeah, now I know what they know, even if you never use it. And you get that feeling, yeah, I took some small action. So there's secondary gain to reading something and not doing anything with it. You might think, well, one day when I'm ready, then I will use that information. But for now, you get the secondary gain of entertainment. You're entertained by it because it's interesting to you. It's intriguing to you. You've now learned a new technique. It's cool. It's fun. It's exciting. And so you get entertainment just reading the ebook. And that's fine. If you just want entertainment, keep doing it. But I hope you want money. And if you want money, you're going to have to learn to overcome that entertainment conditioning and approach it as work. This is the first piece of the puzzle, and that's what I talk about here. An ebook is a start. It's not a finish. Honestly, after reading an ebook and knowing what to do, you've just begun. You haven't ended. See, as marketers, our goal is we know that probably the only way you're going to buy the product is if you feel by the time you're checking out you already have the solution to your problem. That's good marketing. That's what we need to do to sell our products. However, in reality, you've just begun. You've got to now study that ebook. You've got to now learn it. You've got to now apply it in the real world. Then you got to course correct because you're not going to get it right the first time. And then if you're still around, you got to put it together with everything else you do, and then you'll get some results. So an ebook is a delayed gratification mechanism. And which everything is. You got to pay the price of discipline if you're going to get the reward, the promise, you know. So ebooks are a start, not a finish. And it should be, it's not a finish, it's a start. Because they have their mentality that they bought an ebook and they've done something. And really they just almost started to begin doing something. And then you got to get over this, not to read for entertainment, not to read because it's exciting to you and because it feels good to read, but read to actually act. And don't read, if you're not going to act, if you're not in a mind state where you can sit down and read to act immediately after you read, don't read. Otherwise, you're just reading for entertainment. And the same thing with classroom conditioning. Understand that your whole life you've been conditioned. So it's not that something's wrong with you because you can't act on information. You've been conditioned that way. It's not your fault, but you have to overcome that conditioning. And this is the one big idea in the system for instant action that is going to help you overcome that. And that leads us to our final point, why you should be offering more than ebooks. Like I said, ebooks are static, and even though they're great, you're doing your customers a disservice if that's the only way you're allowing them to assimilate your information. So, what else can you offer them? Well, updates, obviously, are one thing. Video courses with the same information so you can hit them a different way. Because the other thing is some people take in information better than from an ebook. So you should be offering them a video course. Another thing is people have trouble knowing what to do when they read an ebook. So you should help them. So you should create checklists. You should create worksheets so they can instantly take that ebook and just look at that worksheet and know the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 big ideas that if they do nothing else, they should act on these at least. So you're doing your customers a better service and you're making it easier for you to sell your goods by doing all these things. These by offering more than ebooks, because now you understand the limitations of an ebook, so you're able to offer more. And by far, you've got to offer coaching. That's so important. I had to use bad grammar. You got to offer coaching in any form. It could be email, where they buy the product, and then for a small nominal fee, you can follow up with them once a day, once a week, whatever. Group coaching, where you get everybody on the call, you do a webinar. You can do that. You can do webinars themselves and sell those. That's my absolute favorite. I call them e-classes. So you teach people in real time. Same information in the ebook, but now it's tailor-made to their situation, and it's dynamic, and it helps them take it in a mentality other than entertainment, because you're forcing them more so than in an ebook. See, in an ebook, they don't have you hovering over their shoulder saying, did you do it? Did you do it? Did you get this? What's stopping you? Why aren't you doing this? And they got that modality now with coaching. And so that's a big part of it too. So yeah, you want to offer coaching. You want to just, whatever you're offering, don't make it just an ebook. That's my point. If you're starting out, yeah, make it just an ebook so you can get it done. But as soon as you can, as soon as you feel confident when you're past ebooks, start hitting them with these different ways of giving them information, because ebooks have their limitations. And at the same time, finally, realize that ebooks are powerful and they're a vital tool. I'm not saying don't buy ebooks anymore or only buy a couple a year. I buy plenty, but I don't buy them for the reasons that most people buy them. I buy them with the real expectation. I want one big idea, and if I get that and act on it, totally worth it for me. And then I understand that it might not work, but I'm willing to try it, because situations do affect results, time does discount information, and it is static content. And so I put it into a system, I try it out. If it works, then I decide to improve upon it, keep it where it is, or then if it doesn't work, I discard it and try it again or move on. That's your whole decision tree. And then at the same time, I've also used my own realistic expectations to make my offers and what I'm giving to my customers better by understanding the limitations of ebooks and overcoming those by offering these different forms, mediums for people to consume the information. I suggest you do the same, and you will find your business will be very successful. So thank you again, Jason Fladlin. Talking about the realistic expectations when purchasing an ebook. Put these to use. Purchase an ebook and try this system out instead. And think about it from a new angle, and I bet you'll get better results.
Okay. Did that play okay for you guys? Were you all able to catch all of that? Did it end right for you? I'm always leery about playing videos over these webinars, whether they're actually going to finish or not. I saw a little spinny updating thing constantly through it on mine. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. in the replay, I'll actually put the real video in that Jason sent me, so you'll get to see the the real replay when I render the replay for tomorrow, I guess. Do you have any questions on anything he asked or he brought up? Like I said, the reason why I wanted to play it is because I get a lot of emails back from people, that purchased one of my products and they've said that, they're willing to give it a try for a few days and see if it's going to work. And, they're in the modality, that's the end all, that one product they bought is it. And, I thought Jason brought up a great point there that, there's hardly anything that you can buy that will be the end point. It's most of the time just the starting point, and it really depends on you and how you implement what you've learned. And if you even got something out of it that you could learn that you could apply to your business. So that's the reason why I wanted a good answer for that question that I get quite a bit. And I think Jason done a great job, even though he tailored it mostly towards ebooks. But I thought that was a really good video that he made for us, and I wanted to share that with you guys. Roy says some people purchase a product and it goes fine. Hard drive and never opened. That's exactly true, Roy, and Jason talked about that. People that will buy an ebook and skim through it and say, "Oh, I'll use this later," and then they never get back to it. And I've done that too myself. I've bought hundreds of products, that I'll initially go through it and I'll say, "Oh, I'll use this later," and then I forget I've got it, and I've wound up buying some things 2 or 3 times because of that. But that happens to a lot of us, and I am really, really bad, and I'll be the first to admit, for buying programs and utilities that I think, well, someday I might need this in something I'm doing, so, this will speed things up, and then I'll forget that I've got it, and next thing I know, I'm trying to implement that method with some other method, and I bought a software for it that would do it months ago that I forgot that I even bought. I thought it was a good lesson that he gave us there, and I hope you all got a lot out of it. Like I said, I'll have a better replay for it when I do the replay for this webinar, so you guys can hear it in the original format. Yeah, Dana, there's a lot of people that do that. Everybody's guilty of it, I'm sure. Sid, I'll answer that question here in just a little bit. I was actually going to bring that up about the MobiFire beta. I've got some news on that. It's not good news, but some news on it. But I'll bring that up here in a little bit when we get to the question and answer section. Let's go. I'll go ahead and do my announcement now. Like I said, I want to make this quick and painless for you guys. I generally don't make any kind of offers on these calls at all, but I did want to make an announcement for you guys. Let me go ahead and get the PowerPoint loaded up here so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Oops. Well, I messed it up. There we go. There, now I got both of them back on the screen. Okay, a little preamble first before we go into this. In February, I announced that I was going to start an Inner Circle membership class or site, and a lot of you people that came into my list from the Easy Passive Sales product back in December were the ones that I allowed to come into it. And in that class, I've launched a couple of products and a couple of coaching sections, and I'm just about to finish one of the major ones. We've got 2 more weeks to go, and we'll be finished with that, and I'll be launching my 3rd one in that one. And I wanted to give you guys an announcement about it and give you a chance to get in on it if you want to be a part of this class. This next one is going to be on list building, and it's going to be done with a different twist from what most everybody else is doing. The class we're just now finishing up was on building an influencer main website to get your internet presence out there and start your own product creation line. And this next class is going to segue right into that, into another area. So it's starting July the 11th. Like I said, we've got 2 more weeks to go in the current class that we're doing now. And I wanted to give you guys first shot at getting into this next class if if you're interested. So like I said, I'm gonna try to make this quick and painless so we can get on for questions. In this class, I'm gonna do something like I said. It's gonna be an unusual twist in it, and I'm gonna guarantee everybody that takes the class 1,000 subscribers this summer. Now, most people that teach a list building class will not guarantee you any subscribers. None of them will guarantee you money, and even I can't guarantee that you'll make any money, but I will go the extra twist and say that in this class, I'm going to guarantee everybody that takes the class will get 1,000 subscribers this summer. So if you're brand new to list building or you've not started list building, this is an excellent chance for you to get a huge list by the end of summer. Details on the class, it's going to be 8 to 12 weeks of instruction. The current one I did is it's going to end up at 10 weeks. So this one will fall about the same, somewhere between 8 and 12 weeks. I'm imagining this one will probably go the full 12 weeks since there's quite a bit to cover in list building. You're going to get a complete sales funnel set up. Now, I'm not going to do the sales funnel for you, but I'm going to give you every single part of the sales funnel so that you'll be able to set up the sales funnel week by week, chunk by chunk. As long as you stay caught up each week, you'll have a huge sales funnel at the end of the class, and it'll have at least 24 products that you can sell in it. And like I said, and the big thing is I'm guaranteeing everybody will have 1,000 subscribers. Now, this will be in the internet marketing niche, in case it's one of the questions you got right up front. Part of the class I'm going to get you started, just to make sure you've got some material to work with. I'm going to give you the 5 pre-warm know, like, and trust messages to start out your list, your autoresponder list with. Then I'm going to give you a 52 message newsletter that you can use throughout your autoresponder emails. And a lot of the products that you'll be given through this class will come with their own autoresponder sets. So actually, if you use everything that you've given, you'll probably end up with a good 1.5 to 2 years worth of autoresponder messages. You'll have a good, fully loaded sales funnel set up. Now, compared to the others that offer these list building training classes like this, Igor Kiafets charges $549.97 monthly for his. Lewis Turner charges a minimum of $1,100. Mark Milburn's right at $1,000. Alex Jeffrich, if you get into one of his coaching classes, you're looking at $1,500. Sean Mice, I was in one of his list building classes, and it cost $497, and then it was $97 a month, and it lasted for 6 months, so it was right at $1,000 I paid to be in his class. And just recently, a friend of mine, Kevin Fahey, launched a coaching class, and he charges just a flat out $67 a month. So that just gives you some idea, what other people are charging for these list building classes. They're not cheap, folks, but all these guys are great. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these guys. They're all great. They all do a good job. If you work with any one of them, you do as they say. That their methods work. So I'm not slighting them in any way in that. I'm just giving you guys an idea of the kind of prices that people charge for this kind of thing. And the one thing is, not a single one of them will guarantee you any subscribers. Now, they'll guarantee you if they supply a squeeze page, a certain percentage of success rate of getting opt-ins to that squeeze page, but they won't guarantee that you're going to have any amount of subscribers. That's one thing. None of them will do that at all. And of course, like I said in the very beginning, nobody can guarantee that you're going to make X amount of sales. I can't even do that. It just depends on how you handle your list, how well it's going to be responsive to you for making an income. But we're going to do all we can to make sure that your list is profitable. Now, normally when I launch this class and it's already started, the cost to get into it's going to be $197. But for you guys, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to get into it today for just $97. And it's just a one-time fee of $97 for the whole class. And like I said, you're going to get everything that I just mentioned, plus, like I said, the guarantee of 1,000 subscribers into your mailing list. Now, these are the bonuses that I'm going to give along with it as well. You're going to get the class that I took with Sean Mice, which is an 8-part power list building class. This is the one that I paid $497 to be a part of, and then 6 months worth of $97 a month. So you're going to get that class along with it. You're going to get monthly one-on-one business strategy sessions, And then you're going to get access to the private message board where you can send me messages throughout the day or anytime you want, and I'll get those messages first, and those are the first ones that I respond to because they come to a special email account. Now, like I said, you can get in today, and this is limited to June 1st. After June 1st, I'm going to raise the price to $147. Then on June 11th, which is when the class is scheduled to start, the price will go up to the normal $197. Now, I've got two more bonuses that I'm going to throw in with this. I'm going to actually kickstart your list building by after you've got the first 2 or 3 products listed into your sales funnel. I'm going to actually send out a solo ad, start getting you some subscribers, and I'll pay for that solo ad to go out. And then there's a $35 setup fee on one account we have to have in this class, and I'm going to pay that $35 for you. Now, this is just for you guys coming in now. Now, once the class starts, the people that come in after June 11th, they won't get this $35 rebate back on the account setup fee, but you guys will if you want to be a part of this. I'll actually rebate you guys on this $35 setup fee. So if it sounds like something you're interested in, like I said, I'm trying to make this quick and painless as possible, guys. I just want to make an announcement to you guys and give you guys first shot at it. This is the website URLs you go to. Let me post that link into the chat box here for you guys. That's the link you go to if you're interested. I'll send a couple of emails out during the week to remind people, the countdown. Like I said, on June the 1st, the price is going to raise. And then on June the 11th, when the class actually starts, it'll actually go to full price. And like I said, one of those bonuses, I'm going to have to pull out the rebate on the account setup fee. I'll have to pull that one out after June the 1st, June the 11th, that is. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys about this. Like I said, in February, I started this Inner Circle membership, and it's been closed out since March 31st. I left it open for February and March, and I closed it out. Well, this is your chance to get back into it. And like I said, it's a one-time fee to get into this class, and you'll have access into the Inner Circle membership for the summer months. If you want to continue on, we'll work out between now and the end of summer. I'm going to open up the Inner Circle member to the public, but for right now it's closed out, and the only way to get in is through this next coming class that's coming up. Now, some of you guys are on here tonight are in the Inner Circle membership, so you guys don't have to worry about this. You're automatically going to be a part of this. So you guys don't have to worry about signing up for this because you're automatically going to be a part of it. You'll just have to re-register for another notification list so that you get the notifications of the classes when they're available. But anyway, I just wanted to show this to you guys, give you guys an opportunity. If you have any questions, let me know. You can email me. You can contact me on Skype. My Skype ID is RedHat39. Or if you have any questions, you can ask me on the webinars as well. So anyway, I just wanted to show that to you guys and give you a chance to get in on this if you want to. And like I said, nobody that I know of will guarantee you 1,000 subscribers. So this is something new and unique. And as far as I know, I should be able to pull this off. It's going to be work on my end, but I think we can get it done. And coming the end of summer months is the time where it's kind of slow for people because they're all out, doing other things. They're enjoying their vacations and things. But by the end of summer, people are ready to get back into internet and online and wanting to make money. Well, you guys that take this class are going to be set up. You're going to be ready for them. You'll have everything, all your ducks in a row, and you'll be able to start making money with these people that come back after the summer months or wanting to get back into the swing of things. But anyway, that's what I wanted to show you guys. Let's go ahead and we'll close that out now and go back to the chat. Yeah, think of the season coming up, that's for sure. If you get set up now during the summer months, come fall when all the sales and stuff are going on, people are going back to school, you'll be right in line to start making money with your list. And a good 1,000 subscriber list, it's not enough for you to make a full-time income on, but it's enough for you to make good money from it. And if you continue, and the good thing about it is the method I'm going to use to get you guys 1,000 subscribers into your list, you can duplicate that over and over again on your own. You could build up a 5,000-10,000 subscriber list in no time if you want to just repeat that method over and over again. So that's going to be up to you guys. What I have found, and this is what I tell my coaching students is that once you hit 2,500 people in your mailing list, you're at the point right there where you can turn that into a full-time income if you manage your list right. And 2,500 people is not a lot to get onto a list. When I first started doing internet marketing way back in 2004 was when I first got serious about it. I had 5,000 people on my list, the first list I ever built, within 6 months. So, it don't take long at all to get 2,500 people on your list, and especially if you follow the method that I'm going to show you in the class, you'll be able to duplicate that method over and over again through, you could have 5, 10, 20,000 on your list if you wanted to just keep doing it over and over again. But the thing is, it's a mindset, you got to be willing to do the work, because, there's going to be quite a bit of work involved, and I'll be honest with you, it's not something that's I'm going to do for you. You're going to have to do the work, but it's all going to be in small chunks. So, if you keep up with it each week, it's not too bad to keep up with. And it's only like 8 to 12 weeks worth of it. And then after that, you can start reaping the rewards from it. In fact, you'll start making money before the end of summer, and probably you'll make your money back on the investment in the class. If you work it right, you should get it back within the first month or so. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say on that, unless you guys have some more questions. I want to go on with the questions we have for tonight and your guys' questions on anything else. Do current Inner Circle members have to pay the $35 setup fee? Yes, Deb, it's through a third party, so yeah, you will have to pay the $35 setup fee. But again, like I said, you guys that are in the Inner Circle membership, I'm going to rebate you guys. Everybody comes in now, and the Inner Circle members are in now. I'm going to rebate you that $35 fee, so you won't come out of your pocket. Mike says, the start which I need, times make. Exactly, Mike, it is a great start. About how much time today would it take to do it right? I would imagine about 3 to 4 hours a week. If you can devote 3 to 4 hours a week to working on your sales funnel. So it's not a lot of time that you'll invest into it. It's about 3 to 4 hours a week is what it'll take for you to keep your sales funnel up to date. Yeah, Bruno, actually, even though I'm going to be giving you a sales funnel in a specific niche, you could apply these same principles to any other niche. Now, the website that we're going to be using the third-party website we're going to be using to get to 1,000 subscribers, they won't work in another niche. It's specific to the internet marketing niche, so that part won't work. But the basic principles on the list building and what we're going to be doing as far as setting up our sales funnel and setting up our autoresponder messages and the sequences and getting people to purchase your products, all of that will apply to any niche. Okay, like I said, I'll send you guys another message or two about it through email this week, just to remind you of the deadlines on it. Like I said, you've got some time. The initial, I think it's another 5 days or so before I raise the price on it one more time. And then, like I said, you actually got about 16 days before the class starts. You got plenty of time to get in on it if you want to get in on it. Will there be an area for members of the list building classes can chat? Actually, I'm going to work on that for this next one, Faye. I didn't do that for the last class. I had a couple of requests for it, and I actually set up a Skype room, but I couldn't get anybody to use it. There was a Skype room for the last class, and 2 or 3 people used it, but I couldn't get the whole class to use it. But I'm working on either a Facebook group or a forum, one of the two, maybe both, for this next class, so we can interact with each other, because this list building class, we will need to work with each other to help each other out. It is, when you get into list building, you'll find that you do have to work with others to help build your list a lot faster. It's harder to do it on your own, so we will need to have interaction in this next class for sure. Yeah, Mike, it'll all be pre-recorded. There'll be the regular Wednesday night meetings like we have now with the current class. There'll be regular Wednesday night meetings, but those will be recorded, and plus the lessons will already be in the members area, so you can access them at any time. Doesn't matter what your time zone is. Dana says, what are some of the products or services that will come under the INS? They're just about everything, Dana. There's some of it's video courses, some of it's software, some of it's WordPress plugins, some of it's ebooks. I'm not sure, Dana, are you in the other class that we're going through now? I'm not sure if you're in that one or not. But anyway, even if you're not, during this class we'll be talking about, what Jason was talking about, setting up your own coaching program if you want to do that. You don't have to do that, but we'll be talking about that as well. But there'll be all different types of products, and they're all going to be internet marketing related products. So like I said, the list we're going to be building is going to be based around the internet marketing niche. Okay, I didn't know I couldn't remember if you were in the members list for the current class or not. We got 50 some members and I can't remember everybody's name in it. My background is in writing and editing. Not sure how it would fit into IM copywriting. You could offer copywriting services. You wouldn't believe how many people would like to have, copywriting done for a sales page or a WSO thread or pay-per-click ads, that type of thing. That's a really good niche to be in if you're good at writing. Yeah, Faye's in my other class where we're building an influencer website and getting into product creation and autoresponder. She's in that other class. Well, it covers setting up. Okay, I'm not sure what you're asking there, Mike. I guess SQ is squeeze pages? Is what you're asking? Yeah, squeeze pages. I guess that's what he's asking. Yeah, you will be setting up squeeze pages and sales pages. And like I said, some of the products that you're going to be setting up will come with their own autoresponder messages too, to try to help pre-sell that product. So you'll actually have quite a few messages to be setting up, and they'll all be supplied to you. You may want to edit them some to give them your own personalization, which I highly recommend. But you'll be given just about everything you need. You're going to be plugging and playing everything into your setup. Okay, let's go over the questions I got, and then we'll go back to your guys' questions. I want to make sure I get these questions tonight. First one I have is, I have a question. Can I offer this page as a free WSO in the Warrior Forum, and how would I word it to learn as a create a subscriber list free PDF? And then gives a link to a website. Okay, this is related to the class we had, was it last week or week before, on I showed you how to build a squeeze page and build a list for free is what he's asking about. Yes, you could set that up as a free WSO. You could actually list that website that you set up as a free WSO, and you could get list subscribers that way. If you wanted to go through the autoresponder messages that I gave you for that, you could write those into an ebook and offer those as something from the download as well. The main product that you were given there was just it advertises one set of products that David Kirby has, and you're actually being an affiliate for his products. He gives you 100% commissions on his products. But yeah, you could definitely list that as a WSO to get list subscribers. Warrior Forum doesn't have a bit of problem with you listing something as a WSO that you're giving away for free. The next one says the affiliate startup. Can I change the mini site graphics novice question? How do you make your writing in blue clickable to a website or link? Okay, I guess they're talking about the affiliate startup mechanic, which is one of the free gifts that I give in one of my autoresponder message setups. Yeah, you're allowed to change the graphics. You're not allowed to change the product. And of course, I don't think you can change. I think best I remember, affiliate startup mechanic is a software, so you can't really change the software to start with. But yeah, you can change the web page if you wanted to. If you want to change the graphics out, you do have full master resale rights to that product, so you can change up the sales page if you wanted to. The second part of the question I asked, how do you make a clickable link? Actually, that's a part of the Composer training that I gave a link to in the Autoresponder Series 2. I gave people a link to get the training with Composer on how to create web pages. So I'll post a link to that down under the replay to this for those of you that may have missed that training on Composer. And those of you that have been through the Easy Passive Sales, I recommend Composer for editing the sales pages for your products you're listing over on JVZoo. Anyway, I'll repost that link below the replay to this video that shows you how to create hyperlinks and clickable links like she's asking in this email. And then the next one I got, and this one says, traffic. Could you please talk about your traffic sources, what you've had success with, both paid and free traffic? Okay. I get asked this quite a bit, what's the best traffic sources that I use? And I'll go over the best ones that I have in both free and paid. I'll do the free ones first. Now, I'm not going to go into these extensively because this is actually part of the coaching class that I have, and it would be fair to those guys for me to give you that whole lecture that I gave them. But I will tell you the ones that do work the best for me, the ones that I use. When I want to do free traffic, these are the number one, the top 4 that I work with the most is forum marketing. Forum marketing is still alive and still works great. If you participate in forums, you're going to get a lot of traffic from your links and your signatures there. Banner exchanges, if you can get them, they're getting harder and harder to find. If you can find other website owners, blog owners, forum owners that will trade out a banner for you. In other words, you'll put a banner on your website. If they'll put a banner on their website for you, if you do a trade, if you can get those to work, those still work great. Like I said, those are getting harder and harder to find because most of the people that have traffic, websites that get a lot of traffic, they know they can sell that spot for X amount of dollars per month, so it's getting harder and harder to get a trade worked out for those. Joint ventures still work out great. If you can get with another product owner that has a product related to the same product, type of product that you have, if you can work out a deal with them where they'll mail their list and you'll mail your list for their product, do a swap with each other on mailing each other's list. Joint ventures work out great. Bonus ad swaps, I do a lot of those, and bonus ad swaps are where you put a bonus download link on your download pages for when somebody opts into your list or buys a product from you. You'll have a unannounced bonus is what most people call them down below that. Most of the time mine on there are for bonus ad swaps for other people, and they do the same for me. And if you can get people that will actually put that into their autoresponder list, that's even better, but those are getting harder and harder to find too, people that are willing to do that. But if you can get people to do that as well, that works out great. As far as paid traffic, the 3 best ones that I use is solo ads, buying solo ads from other list owners. That still works out great. That's the highest converting traffic that I get. Facebook pay-per-click still works great. It's getting harder to get Facebook to approve ads. You have to really be particular of what your squeeze page or your landing page sells. But if you can get Facebook to approve it, and you've got your audience targeted right, Facebook pay-per-click is well worth the investment. If you remember back in the original days of AdWords, when AdWords first came out and we were able to direct link to products back in those days, that's where Facebook's at right now. So you know, dead easy to do, and it's dirt cheap. So I highly recommend that you learn about Facebook pay-per-click because it's really worth the money. And of course, paid banner ads. I do a lot of paid banner ads as well. I usually buy those by the month. Sometimes I'll buy them 3 or 4 months at a time. I have done some where I bought them 6 months or a year at a time, but those are kind of hard to find where you can buy them for that stretch amount of time. Usually it's by the month is what you usually buy them at. But those are the ones that I use the most. If you're looking for free traffic and you want one that's really going to work, I would encourage forum marketing. If you're wanting the best one out of paid traffic, I would recommend solo ads. And solo ads, you can get solo ads in any niche, folks. They're easier to find in internet marketing, but you can find them in other niches. You just got to find somebody that's a product owner that's selling products in that niche. Approach them, tell them you'd like to send a solo ad for a free product out to their mailing list, and you can usually work out a deal for solo ad of any product owner in any niche. It's just you got to be willing to contact them and work out some sort of deal. That's all the questions that I had as far as email. Do you guys have any questions on anything Jason said, or the offer that I told you about, the announcement, or any other questions at all? Conrad wants to know, does AdFly really work? AdFly doesn't work as good as it used to. You still can get subscribers from AdFly, but they are poor subscribers. They'll opt into your list to get something for free. They'll never open another email. So I wouldn't invest in AdFly at all. It's wasted money. Okay, yes, Sid, you wanted to ask about the MobiFire. Okay, Sid, what's happened with MobiFire? I told you guys that I had a software that I was working on that was going to be an easier interface. The programmer gave me a pre-release candidate version of it, and I tested it out myself with some apps and found some problems with it, that it didn't always load. It crashed a lot. So I went back to the programmer to try to get him to fix those before I released it to you guys. He did one revision to it, or said he'd done a revision to it, sent it back to me, the exact same results. Didn't get any better results from it at all. So I contacted him again. He got mad at me. I don't know why, but he got mad at me. Said it was my fault that the apps were crashing. I don't know how it could be my fault. But anyway, I've not had any communication with him since that second update. So I'm trying now to get the source from him and go to another programmer to try to get it done again. It works as far as creating the apps. They work great. They look good, but they crash a lot. The few that I loaded up, I mean, it was just unreal the amount of people that were reporting crashes from it. So I didn't want to release it to you guys with it crashing as much as it did. I really should have sent you guys out an email on it, but this has all just happened in the last 2-3 weeks. That me and this guy's been going back and forth on trying to get that program to it's more stable. But anyway, that did remind me, Sid, and I will send out an email to let you guys know where I'm at with that. I'm at the point of trying to find another programmer again. But on a positive note, Sid, the program does work. I know it will work. It's just got to get more stable code. When I get some code that works, this is going to be, you guys are going to love it. I know that, because it does make it a whole lot easier putting out apps when you can just fill in a few boxes and click a button, and there's the app ready to upload. Conrod's wanting to know about, have you heard about Blast for Traffic? Is that bulk email sender? Is that the one you're talking about, Conrod? Is it a bulk email sender? Okay. I've heard of it. I haven't used it. I don't have much faith in bulk email senders. I know people that have had success with it. Michelangelo Lopez swears by them that they're great. I've not tried them that much to give you any kind of success rate with them. I have heard of Blast for Traffic. I know they are a bulk email sender, but I don't know what kind of results to tell you. I imagine it's mostly safe list traffic, but I couldn't tell you that for sure. Mary says she's used it, not got any results, so there you go. Like I said, I've heard of it, and I've tried bulk emailers before and didn't get much success with it. So there, Mary's using it, she knows. So let's go by what Mary says. I'd imagine, though, like I said, Conrad, it's probably safe list traffic, or it could be this bulk email going out to lists that they don't even have rights to email to. They're just going all to the spam box. Debs, don't know, do you ever buy leads, as in from Places Database USA? Mary, Deb, I have bought leads from Nextmark. They're fairly expensive, but I have bought leads from Nextmark, and I have had fairly decent results from them. But they are so expensive to buy from those people. That's the only problem with it. And you're only allowed to email them once. Well, this is renting a list. I don't know what you're actually talking about, purchasing leads, I guess. That may be a different scenario. I've rented lists from Nextmark, and I've gotten good results from it, but they only allow you to email once. So it's for the cost. I don't know if it's worth it or not. If you're doing a high-end product, something where you're going to get $47, $97 sale out of it, it might be worth it. But I was having to pay $1, $2 a lead. Of course, this was non-IM niche. This was a different niche I was going for, but it was fairly expensive. So I don't know that I'd recommend it unless you've got a good budget to work with. Now, some of them will actually do the mailing for you too, but they're really expensive if you have them do the mailing. What I found working with Nextmark, it required $500 up front, and then you had to be willing to invest, about the same amount each month in order to get results with them. I did it for 6 months, tried it for 6 months, and like I said, it was okay. I got a good amount of subscribers out of it and made a few sales. I don't think I broke even on it. I think I actually wound up losing a little bit of money on it, but in the long run, since I did get subscribers, I made up for it in the long run. But it was quite a bit of an investment. Like I said, they want a minimum Most of them with $500 up front to get your account set up. Then you got to buy a lead package from them every month. So, it's fairly expensive. Yeah, it's pretty steep. You have to have a good sales funnel set up. You have to have one, you're when you make a sale, you're going to get, good chunk of commission, or if it's your own product that you're going to make quite a bit of money on it. I think the product I was selling it was an affiliate product that I was getting $37 commission on it. So, like I said, I wound up almost breaking even. I didn't break even. Almost broke even with it, but then I made money in the long run later down the road with it by having them on my autoresponder list. But yeah, it's not cheap to get into buying lists from the list brokers. Now, it may be different. Like I said, you're asking about buying lists. I was actually renting a list. So it may be different with buying a list. In fact, they may even charge more to buy the list. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't done that in a long time. It's been a couple years since I did that. Okay, well, let's go ahead and call it a night tonight. I want to thank you guys for coming tonight. I hope you enjoyed the presentation that Jason gave. Again, like I said, I'll post the link one more time here for you guys if you want to check out the offer on the new class I'm starting up. Like I said, I'll send out probably another email or two throughout the week to remind you guys of it. Those of you that are interested in it that want to get in on that. Like I said, it's a unique offer. Nobody I know is offering that kind of a twist that are going to guarantee you a list at the end of summer like that. So I highly encourage you, if you've not got started list building, this is a great way for you to get started. If you already have a list, this is another great way for you to add, an extra 1,000. And like I said, the method I show you, you could duplicate it over and over again. You could add several thousand if you wanted to repeat it. But with that said, let's go ahead and call it a night. Like I said, thanks for coming tonight. I'll have the replay ready for this for you probably by tomorrow night, and enjoy the rest of your holiday. Have a good night, everybody.